Let's paint something that you would see if Quark's bar had windows. Don't worry, if you're not a Trekkie, this painting is not Star Trek themed. You're still gonna love this painting. But I've got my Quark gear on. I even have gold press latinum. Grab your watercolors and give them a good spritz. Now, I want you to work with dark colors, really saturated colors on this. So make sure your brush is loaded with a whole bunch of water and a bunch of color. And I'm gonna put down a bunch of blues, pinks, and purples, and just let them all kind of mix and mingle together on the page, trying to make sure that it's nice and dark. Then it's time for our least favorite time that we make into a fun time. Let it dry or make it dry. Now I want to add in some stars, and you can do this with all sorts of things. For mine, I'm going to be using a combination of metallic watercolors and a white gel pen. This part gets a little messy, so maybe grab some scrap paper and cover anything you have on the opposing page. Also make sure there's nothing around you that you don't want paint sprayed on. In order to get a nice spray of stars, I'm going to really saturate my metallic watercolors, and then I'm going to grab a brush that's got some stiff bristles, and I'm going to dip it in and then just kind of flick it at the page. I'm going to do that with a couple colors, and if I need to, I'll dry it, but if I don't do too many, I can just go ahead and grab my white gel pen, and then I can add in some stars, maybe even a little shooting star. You could definitely leave it just as a night sky, but I want to add in some trees. That would definitely not be seen from Quark's bar if he had windows. You'd probably have to go to the holodeck for that, but in order to do that, I'm not actually going to paint them on, but I do want to make sure everything is nice and dry, so I'm going to let it dry or make it dry. And then I'm just going to grab whatever pen I feel like using. On top of dry watercolor, you can really use any sort of a pen. And I'm just going to add in some evergreen trees. Now, the trick to the trees, in my opinion, is to make a line so you know how tall it's going to be, and then just try to scribble as randomly as you can. It's almost like writing cursive and changing directions while you're trying to write a word. Just make sure the scribbles get a little bit wider the further down you go. I think this one is so fun to do because you get to just play with all the dark colors, and then you add in these simple elements and it really brings it to life. I feel like by looking at this, you can tell how quiet and peaceful it is.